Like outside of rest, recovery, and family time, what's your top priority for this off season?
Get healthy. That's first and foremost. Just try to, take care of some things this off season, and get back to feeling good.
Go next to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Blake. Paul, after the game, had said he, feels this is kind of the beginning of this team's arc upwards. For a lot of us on the outside, it looks like that arc started in 2018 and has maybe faded a little bit or stalled. Where do you see this team in regards to its build towards what you clearly want to get to?
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of two different sort of peaks and on the radar. I think 2018 was a team that was built a lot different than our team now. Our back end was really strong in terms of just having veteran guys and guys that have been here for a while. It was kind of a strength of our team, and our core was still very young. What you consider the core of our team, outside of myself probably was very, very young. And that core is now, I mean, they're maturing into men in the primes of their career. So I think that those 2 years, the back-to-back years, were those were probably very real chances to win it all. I think our team this year, we have a lot of the makings of what it takes to win it all. So I'm excited about the direction that we're headed. I think there's a lot to look forward to for our group.
We'll go next to Jason Bell from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Jason.
Blake, in your occupation, it's different for a lot of us, where we wouldn't have one time a year where you're looking around the room and you're seeing guys for maybe the last time. It's a different kind of workplace. What's a day like today like when again that there's going to be faces that you've gone to war with that you're parting ways?
Yeah, it's hard. That's the worst part of the job is the revolving door. The teammates you build a strong bond with, and guys that you really rely on, guys you really enjoy being around, and then they're not around anymore. So that's the hard part of the job. The best part of the job, though, is that you still talk to a lot of those guys. I mean, even after our last game, the amount of former teammates that reached out, and it's just great. You make a lot of lifelong friends in this business, which is pretty unique. I think you lay it all on the line with guys, and you form a bond with the guys that'll kind of meet you halfway and lay it on the line with you, and you form a lot of really good friendships. So it's more of like we'll see you later than a goodbye kind of thing, because you'll either play against them or you'll see them down the road.
We'll go next to Sarah Lesky from TSN. Go ahead, Sarah.
Like throughout this season, you've always made sure to kind of put everything into the context of being a professional athlete and versus everything that maybe some of the challenges economically that people are going through right now and hardships. But has this been one of the most challenging seasons for you in your career, just because of everything that you guys have had to deal with?
I mean, Sarah, it's a great question, because it's so true, but I just got to be really careful with how much I come up here and start trying to complain about how hard things were. And I know you're not trying to, that's not what you're getting at, but I just want to be, you just got to be really careful with how much you're putting what my family, what I've been through personally this year, what my teammates have been through this year, in the face of everything else that's going on in the world, in Canada, in Winnipeg right now. So, the truthful answer to your question is, yeah, it was by far the hardest year, my professional life, my personal life, everything. You know, it was equally hard for my wife, probably harder, you know, because she had to live by my rules, even when, you know, the rules weren't kind of the same in Winnipeg, when you could still go to dinner, when you could still maybe see a friend or two. You know, she couldn't do that. You know, and now everyone's kids are out of school here in Winnipeg too, which just adds to it, right? So it's been all encompassing, and that's where, you know, that was my point in my answer the other night, is that, you know, we felt kind of what got us out of bed as a team, as you know, players in town, was that we knew we could provide entertainment, provide a break from all of that for our, you know, our fan base. And that was the most exciting thing about the year for us. Kind of the only exciting thing about the year for us was that we knew we couldn't play in front of our fans, but that they were watching, and, you know, 7 p.m. every night, it was something for them to do to kind of break the monotony in the world. So that was the bright spot for our year.
I'll go back to Sarah for a follow-up. Go ahead, Sarah.
Blake, I just want to ask, when you said that one of your priorities for this summer was to get healthy, is it anything that would keep you out of training camp, or is it or just minor things?
I don't know yet. And, you know, it's not, one of my biggest pet peeves is when guys get up and, you know, after the season and start talking about how all their injuries, you know, everyone in that room is playing through something right now. I'm no different. So, getting you know, some things looked at, and then just kind of take it from there. We'll see.
We'll go next to Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Paul.
Thanks, Gregor. Blake, thanks for giving us something to write about. Appreciate that this year. How far do you think your team is away from being the contender for a cup?
Well, I think we're already a contender, right? I mean, you get into the final 8 of 31 teams, you're in the conversation. I think that, like I said, you know, kind of the hardest part is formulating a core group of players that you believe are, you know, the identity of your team and the guys that can push you over the hump. And I think we have that. I mean, that's a great step in the right direction. I mean, you know, starting with our goaltender, and then, you know, working around to some of the guys that are now, you know, kind of getting to their mid to late 20s. I mean, that's a group you can get really excited about. So now it's just supplementing, you know, just trying to, and that's, you know, in a flat cap world, that's going to be Kevin's kind of challenge this summer, is how do you fit the pieces in to kind of, you know, push that core over the top. And I guess that's what remains to be seen.
Just a couple more for Blake. We'll go back to Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Blake, you've been Paul Maurice's biggest backer. Why is he still the right man to lead this team moving forward?
I've been on teams where, you know, the coach has lost the team and the message isn't being received, and guys roll their eyes every time he says something. And I mean, that's just never happened with Paul. You know, I think, you know, his message is still received. I think the guys, you know, have just a ton of respect for him, because he's first of all a good person and a good man, and he treats us as people. And so I think in some respects, you know, the way Paul handled our team this year was almost as good as he's ever been. I mean, you know, I felt a lot of the decisions he made, whether it be line combinations or what have you, were right on. You know, I think his feel for our team was really good this year. So, you know, there's a lot of coaches that haven't won playoff rounds, you know, and you know, to win a playoff round, you know, this year, it's not our goal, but there is still some kind of accomplishment in that. And, you know, he would never acknowledge that, because it's not what we're in this business for. But big picture wise, to, you know, make the playoffs, win a round, you know, you just have to kind of keep that in perspective and take the positives out of that.
Final question back to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Sean.
Sorry. Thanks again, Blake. I'm wondering, you talked about that core being into that kind of age of in their prime and being men. You talked about yourself as being a little bit older, and you talked about going back to 2018 and what you saw from there. I'm wondering how your perspective has changed, from that time to where you are now. You wear your heart on your sleeve when you're talking about winning the Stanley Cup. I know it's your ultimate goal. I know there's probably not anything in your career that you care about more than that. So how has your perspective changed over those years as far as the urgency that you may be feeling in achieving your goal?
Yeah. You just want opportunities, and I would categorize this year as an opportunity. So looking forward, that's all I care about. I care about being on teams that are in that conversation, that have a chance, that are playing the playoffs, because from that point, anything can happen. It's so hard to win. And even, the teams that come into the playoffs as the favorite, or the teams that everyone's, thinks are going to win the Stanley Cup, it never works out that way. The bounces, hot goaltending, all these little factors play into it. And, my perspective is that basically what I've always done here. I'm going to give everything I have to this team in this city for the rest of my career here, and I hope that ends with our team raising the Stanley Cup. But there's only so much you can control. You can control your effort, your attitude, how you treat people. I'm going to do that every day, and like I said, I believe that that's going to get this group over the hump, and we are going to win. But at the end of the day, you don't know. You just don't know what's going to happen. So I'm just looking forward to hopefully having more opportunities in the future.